Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm Larry Ziliak, your host, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And today I'm really excited to have two of my favorite military chefs here with me in the Willing Warriors podcast studio. It's actually in the basement. This is a big day for us. They're here because they were helping with our home away from home dinner. We're doing all the prep. Today is Saturday, and tomorrow on Sunday we have 55 wounded warriors and family members coming for a home-cooked Thanksgiving dinner from Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir. So we call in all of our staff sous chefs and a number of different military chefs. You guys missed Tirabassi, Cameron Tirabassi from the White House. He was here this morning, and it was just a great time today. But with us, we have Coast Guard Chief Danielle Hughes, who had just been promoted, which is great, and CS1 Johnny Toman, both Coast Guard. Danielle, let's start with you. Welcome, and tell us a little bit about your career, when you joined, and how you got to be in the Commandant's mess at headquarters.
Thanks, Larry. Pleasure to be here. I started in the Coast Guard in 2012, so I just hit 11 years not too long ago, and from there I went right into the Coast Guard's culinary program, our school out in Petaluma, California. Really great training out there, and from there I was fortunate enough to get stationed in Key West, Florida, which was rough,
It sounds good.
So we get to sail all over the, Caribbean, Central and South America. And then from that unit, I went to another boat in Miami where I was essentially the only chef on board running my own restaurant, cooking for a crew of 12. Mm-hmm. So I would, make the menu, go shop the menu, cook, plan, do it all myself. In the Coast Guard, it's super unique to our branch where you're cooking everything from scratch, and you have, the ability to use locally sourced ingredients and make whatever you want. And it differs from the other services where in the Army out in the field, they're boiling bags and, and on a Navy carrier with a crew of 5,000 people, they're not cooking from scratch.
Yeah.
So we have that unique opportunity in the Coast Guard, which really is just awesome experience so far. And from there, I applied to the Special Command Aid program, which I'm in now, and got the opportunity to come to D.C., work in the Commandant's flag mess with Johnny over here. And with that is just, the opportunity in D.C. for chefs in the military is remarkable. There's nothing like it. We get to work with every branch hand in hand. We've been to every chief of staff's house, worked with their chefs. We get to work in the White House all the time, the Pentagon, the vice president's quarters. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a culinary degree, so I've gotten everything through the service,
Mm-hmm.
Getting to go to the Army school down in formerly Fort Lee, now Fort Gregory Adams, where their training is, getting to work with all them there. And it's been quite an incredible experience so far.
Was that where you got enlisted aid course?
Yes.
Through there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And for our listeners who aren't aware, the enlisted aides are the chefs for admirals, generals, flag officers, and all the way down through the Department of Homeland Executive Dining Room, which is because the Coast Guard falls under Homeland Security during peacetime. That's manned by Coast Guard chefs, so they take full advantage of that.
Yes.
So, Johnny, tell us a little bit about where you started, how you got into this career field.
So it started when I was about 14, actually, and then, dishwashed in a couple little mom and pop restaurants, and then started working at a bakery. Loved it, and then had an opportunity to go to school. So I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, where I got my degree in culinary arts, and then I went to West Hampton and had an opportunity to own and operate my own restaurant.
Wow.
So I did that, and then I realized I was losing my hair, and I needed to do something else with my life. So, and just the stress of restaurant life in the civilian world was a lot.
It's hard.
Yeah, extremely.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, something's easy. Let me just join the military. I think I can do that. I thank my college for that because it was very based off of veterans coming back from World War II that didn't have places to work. So they were like, oh, you guys could become chefs and so forth and so on. So, and it was pretty militant, and I didn't realize that at the time. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to join the Coast Guard because it had the best culinary program. And I was like, yeah. So me and Danielle kind of share almost the same career path. I went to a big white boat in Florida, and then I went to a small boat, an 87, the patrol boat that's not the one that she was on, but also in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Wow.
And then obviously joined the Special Command Day program, and that's been it so far. I'm about to hit 10 years on the Coast Guard, and it's been a wonderful journey. I mean, I feel like I've learned more as a chef, a leader, a mentor, a friend in the Coast Guard than I would ever have if I just decided to stay in the civilian world. So
Sure. I know that you guys compete often, and you are the 2023 Military Chef of the Year. Was that because somebody just woke up one day and said, let's make Johnny the Chef of the Year, or did you have to compete for that?
well, we do have puppet masters where we work, but they Danielle won Chef of the Year in 2020. And then me and Danielle proceeded to continue to be a part of the team for the last 2 years, where we've had, trials and tribulations, but all of that led to, amazing success for the Coast Guard culinary program and the Coast Guard culinary team.
Right.
With that said, obviously you go to Fort Greg Adams, formerly Fort Lee, and it's called JCTE, so Joint Culinary Excellence like training. It's one of the biggest culinary competitions in the Northeast that the ACF put on.
Yeah.
And you cook with fellow branches, and you compete for Chef of the Year. It's called a mystery basket.
Mm-hmm.
It's in like the F4 category of the ACF manual, and it's 3.5 hours long. And you have to do a main starter, a super salad, main course, and a dessert all within that time. And you don't know what you're going to get when you go into it. Probably the first time in my life cooking, I just blacked out, and then all of a sudden food was on the table. So
Okay. By feel.
yeah, all by feel.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough and had the privilege to be successful at that and force the Chef of the Year for 2023. So.
Right. And it's stiff competition. I mean, each service branch is fielding the teams that have been working through the year to perfect their dishes and their teams. So it's a pretty tough competition. It's as hard as anything you see on any of these reality TV shows, for sure. What does the Coast Guard team for 2024 look like?
It's looking pretty stacked, Larry. Another unique thing about the Coast Guard's culinary team is, like you said, the other branches we compete against, they're typically all stationed together. The Army, they feed out of each, Fort Hood and Fort Bragg. So they get to work together year round.
Yeah.
And then the Coast Guard culinary team comes together 10 days before the competition. Have never met. They're all fleet cooks from all over. We'll bring a couple team members back for continuity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they just, the Coast Guard's always commended on how well we just work together. And it's just, same thing as like, being out to sea and doing these missions. Like we'd all just, everyone is there, has your back, and same thing out there competing. But yeah, the team is looking really good this year. Should have a pretty good chance to go back and four-peat.
I've been meaning to get down there for that. Take some of the chefs here down to watch that. We definitely have to arrange some.
Absolutely should.
Yeah.
We'll get you some tickets now. But Johnny and I actually have an even, more unique opportunity with competing. We'll actually be heading to Stuttgart, Germany in February to compete in the IK Culinary Olympics this year.
Oh, wow. That's great. And how does that work? Is it just the two of you, or are there going to be a couple more? Or?
So at the same, so we're on the team. It's USACAT. It's the United States Army Culinary Arts Team because the Army funds it. So it's a joint culinary team, and you get picked up on this team. You compete and apply to be on it down at that same competition.
Okay.
And then they recruit and scout, and then we just got together in March at the competition, and from there, we've gone on. We've competed in Canada at their national competition. We've gone to Michigan, competed in a competition up there, and yeah, we're just doing train ups almost every single month down in Greg Adams, and
Wow.
we'll leave in January, be over there for about a month in country in Germany, and
That's not bad.
no, so
That's not bad. Yeah.
no, it's surreal. It's incredible. You know, the opportunity that the military offers
Yeah.
for chefs, not just cooks and
Right.
chefs in the military. So
And just so our listeners are clear, being a chef at your level is a lot like being a professional basketball player. A lot of people can play basketball, but not everybody can play professional basketball. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think, okay, wow, that sounds great. I want to join the Coast Guard. I want to join the Army, and I'm going to be a chef. There's a lot of work involved. It's hard work. It's not, oh, okay, you've been in 4 years, you can go to be a chef for the general. It's not like that. I mean, you could spend your entire career as a fleet chef or in the Army. I mean, when I look at what Fort Bragg has as a program, it's huge. They've got restaurants, they got food trucks, they got chow halls, they got field units. I just want listeners to understand the caliber and the level, the quality that Johnny and Danielle are at is not something that it's easy to achieve. Danielle, you just came from a period of time working at General Milley's residence as one of, I believe, 4 of his personal chefs at his residence. What was that like when you're serving dinner not only to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, but his family, and then I'm certain that there were a lot of guests for dinner often. But what was that experience like for you?
that was, I mean, one of the most rewarding experiences without a doubt. You know, the current state of affairs we're in the world. You know, is a very tough job. That position, without a doubt. You know, being the chairman and overseeing all of the armed forces. So not a job I'm envious of, without a doubt, but you know, we get to keep them going and nourish with food. That's what we do. So you know what I mean. And Johnny and I have this conversation all the time. That like, I'm whenever I make something fun, I just look at them. I just can't wait to see their reaction. Like more than anything, like what you make with your hands, someone's gonna put inside of them and nourish them. And to know that you're doing that for the man who's the senior military advisor to the president,
Yeah.
calling the shots, is out there doing the king's business, and you know you get to take care of him and make sure he's fed well, and you know these relationships that he's fostering with meeting with Congress constantly, and you know the entertaining that we do with a lot of very big hitters, foreign dignitaries. We're constantly hosting his counterparts globally. It's amazing just to even say and be in the room with these same people, and you're there because you just happen to cook food really well.
Well, and I know they enjoy it. I just know they enjoy it, and I know, and it's not just you there too. One thing I've learned from the enlisted aid program and all of the military chefs that come out is that it's a close-knit community here in the D.C. area. So when you need help, there are other enlisted aides from other houses that will come over and help, and it's almost like a community project in the sense that you're not there pulling your hair out trying to get dinner for 20 out by yourself or just the 2 of you. But Johnny, what's that camaraderie like here in the DC the DC area?
It's amazing. I mean, just the first month of being actually at the flag mess with Danielle, it was just welcoming. It was definitely a culture shock coming from the fleet, and then having to adjust to being back on land.
Yeah.
And then just the community that she built by just going out and meeting all of the other enlisted aides and being able to be a part of that, and then building my own network of friends and going to quarters, and it's just it's a sense of family, because you'll be able to call on somebody and 9 times out of 10 they'll pick up and say they can make it, they can't make it, or they can be there for 2 hours, they can be there for this amount of time. And they know that they can do the same thing for us. We would do the same thing for them.
Sure.
And that's pretty amazing for me. I think that there's a big sense of family when it comes to it, and it's like a really crazy gaggle of group of people, but we're there for each other, and we're all super talented. I think I've learned a lot from just being in DC and around other people who are like equally as crazy as I am when it comes to just like wanting to make food great, make atmosphere inviting, just have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what's next, Danielle? Where do you see yourself in 3 years?
In 3 years. So I actually just recently, it's funny you ask, I put in my submission to become a recruiter in charge to go run my own recruiting office. And I do a bunch of it now to where, we're hurting with retention and getting folks to join the military in general, every branch. I believe that we're all at least 30 to 40 cent below comp of where we're supposed to be. So
Sure.
numbers are hurting out there. And, with what I do, what we do, and my experience of, having everything that I've gotten in culinary from the military training, I feel like I have a pretty good story to get out there and, share with others and, multiply the workforce and help get us back to where we need to be numbers wise and recruit the same talent, give people the same opportunity that I was given,
Okay. What does that mean, though? Okay, if they say, okay, you got the job, where do you go? Or do you end up in Wichita, Kansas? Or where do you, where?
I've actually got some rough locations on there, Larry. I got Nashville, Tennessee, Panama City, Florida. Yeah. Vegas is on there. So it's a good looking list. I'm really excited. We'll see. And then eventually for me, I'm looking to go to the officer side of things and become a warrant support division officer and
Okay.
have that experience being enlisted, going into the officer world. And I think, as much as I do enjoy being a chef in the military, that I feel like I could, be a lot of help out there to the fleet and, running a division and, giving that experience that I've had as enlisted, bringing that to the officer world.
Sure.
So, yeah, we'll see. Get another career out of the Coast Guard.
There you go.
So
Great. Johnny, same question to you. Let's say 3 years, 5 years down the line. What do you think?
Well, as of right now, I'm trying to do one more tour in the enlisted community.
Mm-hmm.
And
What does that look like? Is that a 2-year assignment or?
typically they're 4 years. And then let's say if you advance, you can advance to, let's say I advanced to chief in that position, then it gives me the opportunity to, just like Danielle is doing right now. She advanced to chief and she was able to short tour and leave the wonderful job that she was at, and then go pursue the recruiter in charge position and other jobs that are also available for E7s in the Coast Guard. So for me, everything is kind of just like up in the air. I love what I'm doing now. Danielle tells me this all the time whenever I feel indecisive, is like, I got to be where my 2 feet are,
Sure.
and that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of just like enjoying the podcast with Larry. And I'm,
Dreams are made.
but I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for just being where I am in the present, and knowing that what comes in the future for me is what's supposed to be there for me. And so I love the military. I love what it's given me, and I love to say it, but the military has made me fat and happy. Like I'm truly blessed in a sense where I don't have to worry about what job I'm going to have next, because no matter what job I have in the military or my future in the next 5 years, I know I'm going to be where I'm going to be, and I'm going to be happy. Because if it has to do with cooking, I mean, I'd do it on my off day. I'll do it. I stay up until midnight thinking about menus and texting people random.
They need some counseling.
Yeah, I think so.
They really do.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. You're not the first to tell me.
Well, the Coast Guard hopefully has a robust mental health.
Yeah.
That's great. Well,
thanks, Larry.
I will say that one of the things too that our listeners need to know is that this year we surprised Chef Danielle with her award as Visiting Chef of the Year for 2023, which was such an honor for us, because you're always willing to help. And whenever we need something, just say, okay, I'll come out, I'll do it. And you guys have brought so much joy to the families when you come out and prepare a meal. I remember talking to a young Army guy he cooked dinner for, and he could not believe that somebody who was the chef for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs had taken time to make him dinner. He just couldn't believe it. He thought we were pulling his leg. And I said, no, this is for you. It's our way of giving back to you and your family for what you did and what your family's gone through. So it's you guys that make the Visiting Chef program a success. You really do. And we can't thank you enough for all you do, and appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us, Larry.
Thanks.
Without a doubt. Yeah, this is, of all the events that we do in DC, and there are a lot of them, we always just talk about how great the, Willing Warrior program is down here, and without a doubt the most rewarding, outreach program that we get to do.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate it. And so for our listeners, we'll have another episode next Monday, and fight bright and early. 0500 if you like to get up early and listen to podcasts. But until then, thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.